At the start of this story, we are shown a lone sailing yacht floating right in the middle of the Indian Ocean. On this boat, an old man is traveling, currently asleep inside his cabin. Suddenly, in the early morning hours, the sound of a very loud explosion occurs, as if the boat hit something heavy. He wakes up startled from his sleep. He cannot understand what caused this sound. After this, it is shown that seawater is rapidly filling the boat's cabin. Everything kept on the floor starts floating. The man quickly exits the cabin to go onto the deck to see what the collision was with. He sees that a large red shipping container is badly stuck in the side of his boat. Perhaps this container fell from some big cargo ship and was floating abandoned in the sea. The iron corner of the container has broken the boat's hull and entered, creating a very large hole, and through that break, water is coming fast inside the boat. The man does not panic. Instead, very calmly and wisely, he tries to handle the situation. Actually, the container is stuck in the boat, and removing it is the first priority, otherwise the boat will break. He goes back down into the flooded cabin and takes out duct tape and some cloth. He comes up and starts the boat's engine to move the boat backward. But the container is stuck so badly that the boat cannot move from its spot at all. The man understands that the engine won't work. He must use another method. He takes a sea anchor and throws it to the other side of the container. He ties the rope to the boat's winch machine to pull it. After much effort and hard work, the container separates from the boat and begins to float away. But as soon as the container leaves, the speed of water entering the boat becomes even faster because the blockage is gone. Now he has very little time, because the boat is slowly sinking, and the danger of drowning has increased much more. The man goes back to the cabin and searches for repair materials floating in the water. He brings strong adhesive glue and some wooden pieces to close the hole. On the broken part, he makes a temporary patch using cloth and wood to stop the water. He prepares a mixture that hardens even in water and applies it to the hole. When the water stops coming, the biggest task now is to remove the water filled inside. He checks the boat's electric pump, but it has failed due to being submerged in water. Now he has only one way left, which is to manually pump the water out by hand. He sets the pump pipe and starts rotating the handle continuously, which is very exhausting work. After hours of effort, he succeeds in lowering the water level and takes a sigh of relief. Now when he relaxes a bit, he goes to check his communication devices to call for help. He tries to turn on his radio to send signals to any ship or Coast Guard, but only noise comes from the radio and no signal is being received, meaning the radio is now dead. He sees that due to the water, all the electronics and navigation systems of the boat are ruined. He goes to the deck and sees the radio antenna wire also broke during the collision. He climbs the mast, which is very dangerous, and connects the wire so the radio might work. Coming down, he takes the mic and sends help signals, but he gets no answer. He realizes he might be completely cut off from the world and now must survive alone. The next day, he wakes and sees that the weather is changing and humidity has increased. Dark clouds appear and the wind becomes very strong, indicating a storm. Now he realizes that a massive storm is heading toward him and his boat is already broken. He starts preparing to fight the storm without wasting time to save the boat. He shaves and wears clean clothes as if preparing himself mentally. He puts on his heavy yellow storm jacket and ties himself to the boat with a rope. He lowers all the boat's sails so the strong wind doesn't flip the boat over. Before moving forward, I request all of you. Many viewers watch but don't subscribe or like, so I request you to please subscribe and like the video. By nightfall, the storm begins and high waves rise in the sea. The boat tosses like a toy in the water and controlling it becomes very difficult. Rain and wind are so loud that nothing can be heard or seen. Suddenly, a massive wave hits, flipping the boat almost 90 degrees. The man falls into the water but remains hanging by the boat because of the rope. He climbs back with great difficulty, but then the boat rotates 180 degrees. The mast breaks and falls into the water, and the boat turns completely upside down. The man is trapped underwater and tries to hold his breath. He thinks he will die, but he is lucky that the boat turns upright again. The man comes up for breath and quickly enters the boat's cabin, but the sight inside shocks him because everything is destroyed. Water has filled inside again, everything is floating, and the boat is now about to sink. This time the boat suffers extreme damage and is no longer sailable. The man sees a new large hole in the boat's side where water is entering. He tries to close it, but the water pressure is too high and he fails to stop it. He realizes saving this boat is now impossible and he must decide what to do next. The storm shows no sign of stopping and the boat is sinking. The man makes a difficult decision. He must leave the boat or he will drown too. He takes out a life raft and brings it to the deck. He inflates the raft and puts essential items like food, water, and maps inside. He also takes a compass to determine directions. While putting things in the raft, the boat sinks further and water reaches the deck. The man jumps into the raft and ties it to the boat with a rope so it's not lost. He spends the whole night in that small rubber raft, tossing in the storm and getting drenched in the rain. Next morning, the storm calms, but weather is still bad. He sees his boat is still slightly floating, but half is submerged. The man risks going back to the boat to find more water and food. He swims to the boat and retrieves one more water can, which is vital for him. As soon as he returns to the raft, the boat sinks completely and disappears. He stands watching his boat go into the depths, his only support. Now he is left completely alone in this vast and deserted ocean. He has only a rubber raft and a little food and water that will last only a few days. Around him is only blue sea, and there is no sign of land anywhere. He checks his supplies to see how long he can survive. He has very little drinking water, and the sun is very strong, dehydrating him. Using a sextant, he measures the sun's position and marks the map. He then learns he is not far from a shipping lane where large ships pass. This is a ray of hope that a cargo ship might pass and save him. Days pass, the sun's heat burns him, and he becomes weak. At night it's cold, and during the day heat breaks him, and his courage starts failing. One day he sees a large cargo ship on the horizon coming toward him. Seeing this, he becomes overjoyed and quickly takes out his flare gun to signal. He stands waving and shouting, but the ship passes from a distance. Actually, the ship is so large and his raft so small that no one sees him. He sits down dejected, head in his hands, because hope is broken. Now he has few flares left, and his hope is fading, and he feels helpless. The next day, his water finishes, and he feels an unbearable thirst. He tries to make clean water from seawater using a plastic bag and a box. This condensation process creates water from steam for drinking. After waiting all day, he barely gets a sip of water, which doesn't quench his thirst. Later, while sleeping, he feels a bump under the raft and gets scared. He wakes up in fear and sees sharks circling in the water and hitting the raft. Seeing this, he sits quietly so as not to attract the sharks further, but he's terrified. More days pass, and now he is very weak and unable to walk. After this, one night he again sees ship lights passing in the distance. He quickly takes his last flare and lights it, not wanting to miss the last chance. He stands holding the flare, hoping someone sees and stops. The flare's red light shines in the dark, but that ship also goes away. The flare dies out and the man is left alone in silence. This time he breaks down completely and screams loudly because now he has nothing left. This is the first and last time we see him so frustrated and angry. Now he has no food, no water, no signal method, and death is before him. He understands survival is impossible and accepts his fate. He takes paper and pen and writes the letter we heard at the start. He writes that he apologizes to everyone he hurt and he is giving up. He puts that letter in a glass bottle and throws it in the sea, so if he dies, someone might find his message. At night, he lies on the raft, his condition very bad. He is slowly dying. Then he sees a faint light shining through the darkness. He thinks it's a star or an illusion because he is so weak. But the light grows and a reflection appears on the water. He sits up and sees a large cargo ship passing. He has no flares left to signal or call them. He sees he has old maps and a plastic box he saved. Then he makes a very dangerous decision to light a fire inside the raft for light. This is very risky because the raft is rubber and could burn and he could fall in. But he has no other way. He is already dying. This is his final attempt to live. He takes the box, puts paper inside, lights it, and waves it. Suddenly, the wind spreads the fire to the raft's cover and it becomes uncontrollable. Soon the whole raft is on fire and burning badly. The man jumps into the water to avoid burning and save his life. Now the raft is totally burned and he is swimming in cold water. He sees the fire dying out, leaving only smoke and darkness. The man is now exhausted and stops swimming because no strength is left. He sinks underwater and lets go of his breath. He feels this is the end and embraces death, closing his eyes. Suddenly, a searchlight shines into the water, illuminating him. He sees a ship's hull right above him. Seeing the fire, that ship came back and found him. The man who had given up feels the will to live again. He starts swimming toward the surface. Reaching the surface, he sees a hand reaching toward him. Someone is offering a hand to save him. The man extends his weak hand and grabs it. And thus the old man's life is saved. We learn that the human will to live is the greatest strength. This story teaches us that while there is breath, there is hope. And no matter the hardship, we should never give up. With this scene, this movie story ends. Tell me in the comments which movie story you want next. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do so quickly. Om.